All right. Welcome to another episode of Duck It. Today, two good friends that I met not too long ago ended up being pretty good friends, and the co-founders of a company called Steak. Welcome to Duck It. Really good to have you
Thanks,
here. We
Chris.
have Rami and we have Manar. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, man.
All right. So I'm really curious. It's been what? It's been like a month and a half since you launched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's it going?
Feels like a year already.
Really? Huh?
Yeah.
That's a startup. Yeah. That's
Well,
good.
It's actually, we officially launched a month ago, but Manar and I have been doing this for a year and a bit now, over a year.
Yeah.
Close to 14 months we've been at it.
Wow.
Get the license, get the platform. I mean, it's been a long time.
It's really easy to start a business here, right?
Oh yeah. Especially regulated. Especially
it
finance.
just gets easier and easier, I find. Cool. And for those that are listening, for those that don't know what Steak is all about, I mean, how would you introduce it? How would you pitch this? What do you guys do?
But
Yeah. So in a nutshell, it's an investment platform that lets you buy a piece of real estate digitally in under 3 minutes for less than 2,000 dirhams.
Wow. So, okay, just to clarify that, I don't have to buy a whole property. I can buy a piece of a property and I can do that online with my credit card.
Correct.
yeah.
Okay. And so it's like buying a share in a property. And that transaction only gets fully completed if enough people do it so that the whole value of the property is sold.
Correct. So now that takes you into how it works, technically speaking. We go out and find the best deals in the market because we don't want to just be putting buyers and sellers together, as a marketplace in the first instance. I think we want to stand for quality, and we can talk about why that is and so on. But we go out and find the best deals, and we put them on the platform available for anybody to invest in for as little as 2,000 dirhams. We aggregate those investments until they reach the purchase price, and then we look to use those funds to acquire the unit from the sellers. Ultimately, people are getting a share, as you said, of a property, and they're enjoying all the benefits, such as the rent, collecting the rent on it, the passive income, the capital appreciation from the growth and the value of the property. Now is a great time to buy real estate in Dubai, and so on. But how it works.
Now, on that point, is it a good time to buy property?
I mean, listen, you can never really time it, but if you look at the prices over the last 4 years, they've been dropping. And what we're seeing in the market right now is you actually see pricing that is below replacement cost,
Okay.
which basically means you can buy stuff today cheaper for what it costs to build. So, I think there's a lot of things happening in Dubai. They've really acted really well during Corona, and then they've positioned themselves. I think Dubai tourism is here to stay once everything goes back to normal. That if you're buying property in a good location today at a low price, which is what we're seeing, you'll stand to make gains on that.
And so the way you guys identify like property is based on revenue that they can generate, based on their kind of productivity, based on the demand in the market for that type of unit in that type of kind of area or neighborhood or whatever.
Yeah, so we identify great locations where the price is very competitive and where the clients can make great yields from the rent, and then we see potential for capital appreciation in the next 3 to 4 or 5 years.
Okay, so I was on your website, and right now, or maybe not anymore, but last week you still had two properties on your site. And one of them was super popular. One of them was kind of in the almost million or 700,000-800,000 dirham range, and that one was kind of subscribed pretty high. And then there was a more expensive one that was kind of starting to kind of pick up. How many properties do you guys want to have on a kind of monthly basis that you can actually churn out? What's the objective?
So again, the reason why there's only two is because we needed to start off like from scratch, right? Building an investor base. You can't just flood the platform with 10 like properties.
Sure.
I think the sweet spot would be to have at any point in time 10 available properties for you as an investor to like construct your portfolio. That's the whole idea. With the same amount of money that you would buy a unit by yourself, you can put that to work with us and diversify your risk by into 10 properties. So eventually we want to be able to have that kind of optionality for you on the stake menu.
Yeah.
The reason why the smaller unit has sold better than the bigger one is because we focused a lot of our efforts on pushing
Getting it
investors,
sold.
getting it sold, and we're so happy. I mean, in less than a month, we managed to sell it down. That's still $200,000 that a brand new platform raised from scratch. For us, it's a good validation.
I'm super curious. I mean, who do you think are the people that are actually buying these?
Well, I speak to them all the time. It's you can't really pinpoint to one investor, and the beauty of it is it's so diverse. You have people who have bought real estate and realized, listen, why am I putting $1 million dirhams locked into one property? This is a fantastic platform to diversify. And then you have some people who've always wanted to buy property. They couldn't afford it, or they just got their mortgage rejected. So, and even if you look at the nationalities, we have 6% of our investors so far are Filipino. We have British, which are 10%. We have Emirati. I mean, it's so diverse, and you have different income levels of people coming in and saying, listen, this is a great opportunity to be part of the real estate market.
I think it's super interesting because it's not just about making property more accessible. I think it's also because people want to diversify a lot more than they used to.
Yep.
Like I think if I think about myself, like, do I want to put a bunch of cash right now into a property in this market, in this economy? Do I want to go and put a 30% deposit on a property in Dubai, or do I think that I can diversify my cash a bit more? And so I think you have people who might have a bit more disposable kind of investment wallets, and you might have people that just want to have more access to properties. What's the kind of expected kind of in your mind, these people who invest, what's the expectation on the back of it? Is it what's the promise of that investment on your side in terms of the returns, in terms of the type of relationship that they're expecting to have with you guys?
Yeah. Look, firstly, I think it's important, and you touched on a few things, important things to highlight, because yes, it's not purely just about access and making it available for the everyday micro investor to be able to access real estate, whereas he couldn't afford it before. Definitely there's a gap there. But the genesis of the thinking around why we launched Stake is that we saw, Dubai attracts so much investment capital into its real estate market, and there's a trap there that we're seeing basically on a day-to-day basis. A lot of the volume goes to off-plan development, and that investment in itself is quite inefficient, and doesn't turn out to be a good story for the investors. They have to wait until they make income, and we can capitalize on the opportunities in the secondary market a lot easier. So making Stake available for the people who can afford real estate, generally speaking, to diversify their risk through a platform like that makes a tremendous amount of sense. So that deals with the thinking that you had originally with regards to access versus, or the gap, or the trap that we're going after. I think the second part of the question.
Yeah, I think they expect to have consistent returns. So the beauty of what we do is we offer them stuff that is rented, so they're actually able to see what they're going to make on a monthly basis. We'll pay it out into their wallets on Stake online, straight into their wallets, and then they also expect that eventually, once we want to sell the property, that they make a decent exit on the appreciation, which is kind of our whole ethos, that we are buying stuff that is lower than market value, that is rented, and will allow you to make money on a consistent basis, and then on the exit.
And do developers see you guys as a good entrant in terms of
100%? Yeah, I mean, listen, today I think all developers realize that the market's changed, and the ones who haven't will very soon. And I think today, one of the things through my experiences as a developer, you would have a lot of clients who would come in and couldn't be able to buy the property because of affordability. So I think developers see us as a channel. We've been speaking to a lot of developers right now who turn around and say, listen, this is great. We don't want to go out and set up a platform and get a license. Would you want to work with us and start moving some of our real estate? So yeah, I think they definitely see us as a new channel for them.
But we want to be very picky, about selecting deals. So we have that screening criteria and a methodology internally. For instance, the unit has to have a tenant inside it. So this goes back to your point about what do we target in terms of returns. Look, in today's world where, everything is jumping 10, 20% on the stock market, it's tough to kind of isolate the thinking around real estate and the benefits of real estate. But when you really, put it into perspective, the asset class is quite attractive. In Dubai, especially, you make the highest yields in the world.
Yeah.
So it's better than putting your money in the bank. You can make 5 to 8% with us net. So that's what we aim to give back to the retail investor. And just as Rami was saying, the opportunity is, from a timing perspective, quite attractive when you look at it historically, because Dubai moves in cycles and we're at the lows of the current cycle. Can't go much lower from here. And when it picks up quite fast and steep. And so, if you can buy and hold an investment in real estate for 5 years, in addition to that 5 to 8% running income that's being distributed to your wallet, you can also expect, some 34 to 40% upside on the value of the property. So that ultimately you're getting a double-digit return, more than 10% return on investment in total.
That's super interesting. And so far, what has been kind of the biggest challenge to the platform? Has it been attracting customers? Has it been the tech behind it? Has it been, what has been the most difficult thing you guys think so far? I mean, we're a month in, so everything was difficult, I'm sure. But
I think this is new.
Yeah.
Crowd investment platforms exist in the US, they exist in Europe, and I think getting that awareness out to telling them, listen, this is the future of real estate investing. Why would you lock up all that capital as an investor into one unit? I think getting people comfortable to do this, investing in real estate this way was, I think, the main challenge, getting the awareness out. But I also think, COVID really helped us. People are a lot more open to doing stuff online. So they're a lot more receptive.
Yeah.
But I think getting awareness out there on what we do is the biggest challenge. Getting people comfortable that this is the way of buying real estate.
And how do you tackle that?
You need to, go out and do a lot of videos and
podcasts.
Podcasts, exactly. Get a good creative agency.
Okay.
There's
blogs.
I mean, it's all about content, right? So, but what I've been seeing as well on the side of speaking to clients is you need to spend time with them and explain to them, because at the end of the day, it's simple, but you still need to spend a lot more time explaining to them. I think content is very important.
And I'm just curious. So, okay, I buy a piece of a property. It has a tenant. The promise of return is X. Tenant leaves. Market crashes. Whose responsibility is it to make sure that a new tenant is in the building, in the apartment? Is it on you guys? Is it on stake? Do you have a whole operations behind it to make sure that
there's no guarantee that's not going to happen, right? It would happen if you were buying a property by yourself either way. So it's the 100%. Same risk. But the
onus would have been on me if I bought it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now the onus is on you.
No, look, we administer the investments in the sense that we look after the SPV that owns the property.
Sure.
We distribute the money that is collected from tenants. We pay up on costs, running costs, and so on. And we look after an exit when we look to sell the property. So that's our job on a day-to-day basis. And you can also view all these activities on your dashboard so that you can monitor and track. What we do in the event that there's a vacancy, the tenant had left, and we need to rent it out again. There's a property manager that we, by regulation, have to give the unit to manage all the day-to-day with the tenant. So the property manager typically has a brokerage arm as well, but the property manager's job is to ultimately, rent it out again.
Keep it occupied. Keep it running.
So we'll look after that. We'll make sure it's being done.
That's how they make their money. They get a fee.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They get a fee from that. So it's in their interest to keep it occupied and rented. We have options of doing both long-term and short-term. So, to ensure that the property is always rented. And
Exactly.
So when you were first explaining stake just now earlier, you were saying, there was this magic number, 2,000 or less, 2,000 or less. What has been the average buy-in?
This
as-
early
If
on?
that's not confidential information,
Yeah.
I mean, for the first property, if it's not confidential, what's the average ticket that people are ready to put on the
Can I
table?
say?
Yeah, so it goes.
It's actually just over 11K.
What the? Wow, what the duck?
Yeah.
What the duck?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's been pretty diverse.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and we want to increase that, to be frank with you.
We see it going up, actually.
We're seeing
'Cause
going
it's-
up.
It's your first property. As soon as people get more comfortable with you, you'll have someone who can afford more than 2,000. We'll start off with 2,000 just to ensure that, you're credible, that you'll deliver returns on time, stuff, which we're fully aware of. So, I think once we finish that, people will start increasing their ticket size.
That's really, really interesting. That's a great piece of information in
Yeah.
terms of the first month to understand kind of,
What's
quite incredible.
what's been most rewarding and gratifying, Chris, is like seeing those 2,000 tickets come in, and even the big tickets come in. The trust that we're able to.
People actually want to do this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
People actually trust
Finding
us.
The market is there. The market is there, and we're converting a lot of the leads that are coming our way because I think people are seeing the value of it ultimately, and a lot of the objections that we thought they would have, not really there. I mean, this is an asset class that people have an affinity for.
Yeah.
Dubai is an attractive place to park your money in terms of like its future.
I think that last thing, what you just said, I think is what personally, as a resident of Dubai, who wants Dubai to succeed, not only because it's the city where I live, but maybe because I also have property here. But I think what's the most exciting about what you're saying is this is a product that caters to a global customer, but that funnels the money into a local real estate kind of, I would say, platform, right? At the moment, you might expand globally at some point.
100%.
But I mean, at the moment for me, it's, sitting here, I'm like, okay, yeah, man, tell everybody, get everyone to invest globally because the money will kind of be, redirected here, and that will help our kind of economy and our real estate kind of development, et cetera. So that's really, really exciting as a Dubai resident. So that's kind of cool. And are most of the investors so far, at least in the first property, from Dubai? Based in Dubai?
It's actually, I think, 70% of the customers were UAE residents. The balance of the 30 were, international. I mean, we had a client from Hong Kong. We had a client from the Netherlands. I mean, it really is very, very diverse. But the majority of it right now, because most of our marketing efforts have been local, 70% have been local. But, I'll tell you, throughout my sales years of selling real estate internationally, 90% of the clients I've ever sold to were non-residents. So eventually that's what we'll get to. There's a lot of feeder markets there that bring in a lot of
Now,
money.
to that point, you guys had really exciting careers before this, super successful guys, really ambitious. Why did you start a company? Why did you start a startup? What was the kind of idea behind that?
I mean, I can tell you because I was in real estate, and this is, I'm still in real estate, but I just, I got bored of doing what I was doing. When you're working for developers, you're selling that product for them.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. It was exciting, but I think I just got bored. One, two, I also saw that there's a lot of things that weren't being done right. I think that's the passion that I have for why I started Stake. I think, a lot of the investors don't end up getting the best deal. And I was on that side where I'd see investors coming in, putting in their hard-earned money into a deal, or sometime putting their children's education fund into property here, and they were missold or given stuff that don't make sense. And I saw that time and time and time again. And you get to a point where you're like, okay, listen, the volumes on the real estate side are high, commissions are great and everything, but then you say, listen, it's coming at an expense of something. So I felt that there is a need for a platform that comes in and gives people the transparency they deserve. But actually giving them a property or an investment that makes sense. And really, I that's one of, a lot of people say, yeah, I want to make it better. No, but, this is I've seen retail investors for the last 15 years. I did this 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And, not to say there's a lot of them that get great deals, but I think a lot of them as well don't get the deals they deserve. And that's the passion why I said, it's enough is enough. I want to do this. I want to, start it up. I've known Manar for 20 years. We went to the same school together. So I said, this is why I want to do it.
Cool.
Yeah, look, I also jumped on this opportunity. I've been looking for the right thing to venture out on my own for some time. I did something unexpected from like a 10-year career in investment banking, jumping to a very unique boutique alternative lending business where I was reporting to the founder. It was going to be my stepping stone to starting my own entrepreneurial journey. And I've been on the lookout for something that's going to stand out, that's going to make an impact. And we decided, I think, jointly we'd be a good team. And the problem about that we're solving for with Stake, killing multiple birds with one stone, I say all the time. It's one that I was exposed to personally. I bought property here. I lost money, and at a young age, at a young age. And if I had the ability or the benefit of information, I don't think I would have made those same decisions. So transparency is something I feel strongly about, that the platform delivers. I think what also attracted me to this opportunity is the traditional investors that are getting their fingers burnt. Deliver to them what they need, which is performance. And the guys who can't afford real estate and want to be part of real estate, give them access and bridge these two together. For me, it was like a formula that makes so much sense. And that we can, in a big pie like Dubai, $20 billion, if we stand for quality for these guys and we stand for transparency and simplicity for these guys, we can combine the two, and the what they say, combining resources delivers better results for everybody. I think that's the kind of idea that I thought we can capitalize on with Stake. And this is a playground for us here in Dubai. We know it best.
I'll add to that the timing as well, Chris, was great. People say, why would you start something new in the middle of a full-on crisis? I think, you get in when the market's low, especially when you're in real estate. And that's where you make the most money. So I think timing as well was a big factor of why we said, let's do this now.
So do you guys kind of see yourself as, Stake being, a solution that unlocks an asset class to, a different customer?
100%.
So like the Robin Hoods.
Yeah.
I mean, not after the recent...
not after their fuck up last weekend.
Exactly. I mean, we always look at them and we say, this is a great platform. I like their branding and stuff. So, yes, 100%. And, we used to, when I was at First Group or Damak, we used to generate, let's say, 100 leads, right? And then we used to be asked to close as many as we could. And the maximum we'd ever close was 5. And the 95 that wouldn't buy was purely because they just couldn't afford it. They love your product. And that market, and Manar and I used to always talk about it. There's 95 people that have expressed interest. They want to buy property, but they just can't afford it. Or they don't want to get a mortgage because they go to bed at night knowing that they owe someone money. So that's as well. To go back to your point, definitely there's giving access. You're unlocking that opportunity to that 95, to those 95 people.
No, I definitely believe that. I think it's not even like do you have the money to buy a property anymore. I don't believe that's that's probably the top line hero message, like, oh, it's super accessible, but it's also like it doesn't make sense to drop 2, 3, 4 million dirhams on one property.
100%.
It doesn't make sense in any economy, up or down, right?
Unless you're buying your own home.
Sure. Yeah, but that's not really only driven by investment motivations, right? It's it's lifestyle and stuff like that. So yes, the timing is right, but also as a solution, it's the most logical, common sense kind of way of investing. You invest in increments, you dollar cost average, or you spread out, or you diversify, right? So it kind of makes sense, right? So cool. Now I want to ask you, running a startup is very different than working for, and selling properties for huge companies or being in, in banking. What's the kind of biggest surprise so far for you guys? What's different? What's changed?
For me, I think it's a lot more demanding. I thought working in big developers or at the big developers was demanding. I think this is a lot more demanding and time consuming. And I think for me, the biggest change is that you really control the outcome of everything. If you come in one day and you don't, you're not feeling it, it affects
the business
100%. And that for me has been a big wake up call, because you really need to be operating at, all cylinders throughout the entire day, all hours. I think that was the biggest wake up for me. That's the change.
It's all on you, basically.
Yeah, it is. And we have a team, and if you have a bad day, everyone has a bad. So I really think it's how much you affect the outcome for me is what was the biggest change that I realized. But obviously, it's
especially in a small team.
Yeah, 100%.
Like in the beginning, we're 7 people now. We're looking to get to 12 soon. I mean, but we rub off on each other. So that for us is like a new game, new ball game. For me, I think I've been operating in environments that are reward individual performance and so on, and I've been less managerial than this guy. So for me, it's like a big change to work in that kind of environment. I'm loving it, actually, to be honest, in the sense that I learn a lot. I learn a lot from the teammates. We've got great guys on board that are very smart, very, very switched on in their fields, capable and qualified and knowledgeable. So the knowledge factor is extremely rewarding. But where I get challenged the most is time management. I think that's the resource that that I think we all lack as startups the most. If we were to pinpoint what it is, it's time. And I'm perfectionist by nature, so it gets in the way of progress a lot.
I second that. I've had that problem, time management, my entire career.
Yeah.
I don't believe that there is a solution if all you're doing is consistently wanting more and more and more. You're trying to pack in more in your day. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm awake 16 hours today, or 20 hours, or whatever it is that I'm going to sleep, 5 hours sleep or whatever it is. The problem with startups is that you always want to do more and more and more, and have less and less people to do it.
100%. Absolutely.
Right? So that's the magic of any company. It's bigger output with less kind of need for kind of internal kind of resources, right? So less resources, but bigger output is the magic formula, right? In startups, that's the name of the game, right? You're like, what can I get out of this talent and this talent? Oh, he can't do it. He can't do it. She can't do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then it's just like the to-do list it's like you got 30 things to do in one day, and you're not going to get past like 4 anyway. Right? So it's okay. And
battle.
Then
daily battle.
Okay. And today you said you're 7 people, and you want to grow to about 12 people. And so what does the roadmap look like for the next 12 months for you guys? Is it a pure customer, or is there a lot of product and tech and all that stuff happening in the background?
It's actually a combination of a lot of things. We're actually moving into a bigger office that's coming in by the end of Feb, which we're very excited about.
Where are you guys located?
The IFC. In FinTech Hive right now.
Okay.
And I'm just say that they've been phenomenal with us, honestly. The whole setup, the whole community of the IFC, and being in that community has been great.
Awesome.
So we're there. We're actually moving in. We're in the FinTech Hive. We've got a bigger office in the Gay Avenue.
Okay.
I think on team size, we're definitely going to grow across product, sales, marketing, across all our departments. We're going to be growing.
Amazing.
But as well as tech, we're doing a lot of things that are exciting on tech. I think we'll be announcing them very soon. We're really, excited about what we're going to be doing, because we stand on building a great product, and part of that is having that transparency to look at pricing and being able to predict pricing and see what the supply is and demand. So we're going to work on stuff. So I think it really is a combination between growing the team, getting a better product, looking at launching a mobile app pretty soon. I don't know if you want to add something to that as well.
No, I think you covered it all pretty much.
So
enough, to chew on.
Yeah, so a month in, you validated the product. You figured out how exhausting it is to build a company. And normally when you get to this stage, you realize you need cash like crazy, and that's when you start actively fundraising. Is that in the books?
Oh, yeah.
I think we realized before running the business.
We haven't stopped since we started, pretty much. Actually, to be fair, not since a year ago, but like more like the summer, we started saying, hey, we can't foot the bill anymore, me and him. We can't bootstrap this business, indefinitely. So, there's something big in the works, hopefully.
That's amazing. Can't wait to hear about it. And so you guys are the only co-founders, right?
Correct.
And your founding team included product and tech in terms of the people that was with you, but you guys are the co-founders. And in terms of the first hire that you guys had, what was it?
Head of operations, Ahmed Hammoudi.
Okay, and operations as in property, as in
Basically,
honestly-
I call him a Swiss Army knife. This guy does everything.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
He's jack of
he
all
helps us
trades.
out. Yeah,
Awesome.
He helps us out with everything.
yeah.
He comes from a great background as well. You know, he helps us on the operations side with real estate. Helps us out with product. You know, he comes from a real estate. He was previously a consultant at Booz. He worked at a tokenization company called Consensus.
okay.
So definitely, you know, he was our first hire. It was crazy. I got a CV from someone. He's like, Rami, I know you just started a company. What do you think about this guy? You know, he might be helpful for you. We got on a call with him. We were like, this is it.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Okay, and then second hire.
Second hire was the VP of engineering that we brought from Toronto, Maz Al-Haq.
Okay.
Maz is, you know, a fintech developer / engineer kind of guy, very, you know, the techie in the team, right? Exposed to all the best practices in the West, and brings all that knowledge into our development activities. He inputs in all these processes that are fantastic, like in terms of shipping product more efficiently and so on. So Maz is, I don't know how we convinced him to...
Over Zoom calls.
Over Zoom calls, we told him, you know, we had so many with him, but ultimately we convinced him to move to Dubai.
So he's here.
And he's here.
Yeah.
Wow, and he's a sole warrior now in product, or
No, we have engineers reporting.
You have
to him.
engineers
Yeah,
reporting
we
to
have
him.
3 based in Palestine that are directly reporting into him, and we're recruiting another 3 over the next.
they're in
2
Palestine,
Yep.
in the West Bank,
Gaza.
Gaza.
in Gaza.
Yeah,
Wow, that's amazing.
yeah. They've been phenomenal.
How do you find these people?
Well, the lead tech developer was based in Canada, actually, and his team is in Palestine. They're the guys we hired to kind of help us build the platform from scratch. So it's actually indirectly via, you know, him. He's a Palestinian, very experienced at building platforms, and yeah, his team has been phenomenal.
That's incredible. Wow.
Even lockdowns, you know, whatever is going on there, these guys never stop working. So
Man, these guys live in lockdown their whole life, right?
Yeah.
so-
That's incredible. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so first hire was the Swiss knife. Second hire was
Maz.
Maz.
Yeah.
Third hire,
Chris,
Chris.
that
marketing.
Yeah,
Yep.
marketing.
Awesome.
Which we were very fortunate to get. You know, he comes
Yeah,
from a lot of experience, performance marketing. It's actually really interesting. He was working for a company that was actually working at the Mac, or doing work for the Mac. And we met, Manar and I, when I was at the Mac, I was like, you know, this is a great company. It was Artifact. So you know, we got in touch with them to do work for Stake. And you know, Chris was the guy on the call, and you know, he had left Artifact at the time. We're like, do you want to work with us? And
It was great
Great.
timing, like opportunistic. This guy is like
He's
very super senior.
pure power. Every time I type him, pure power. Just feel the energy come through the
no,
phone.
and I think a lot of startups, you know, we're very fortunate because most startups from that part of the business, you know, from digital marketing, something that they kind of grow into and they learn and test. I think having someone with his experience at the start has really given us a, you know, massive.
He lays the
advantage.
foundation for all
Big
that
time.
growth, right?
Big time.
Okay. Interesting. And then, okay, so a month in, core team. What are the critical kind of next steps for your business from a hiring standpoint, from a building standpoint? What do you think is going to be the kind of critical next step now, outside of the fundraise?
So, biz ops, we got one team member who's a fantastic addition to the team, just to like sort of start closing, you know, properties, because that takes quite a bit of time. You know, forming SPVs, buying properties.
You mean post fully
Post-closing.
subscribed,
post fully subscribed? Exactly. So
then transferring it to an actual transaction?
Exactly. And also systematizing a lot of the supply side, origination side, the selection side of the whole equation. What do we put on the platform? What do we show? What kind of materials do we put together for?
Is all that going to get automated, or is it going to be kind of, for now, process, but over time it's going to get...
We're putting it together, the systems to automate that, because it's, you know, you need to operate efficiently like this. You can't have like an army of people work, you know, out there looking for deals and putting together the package and so on.
It's not like you have a guy go to the land department.
Yeah,
With like this many papers. Here are all my owners.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. Yeah,
Actually, they've streamlined that process a lot. So you go to the trustee office now, you get that done.
Okay,
but you know, definitely that's part of our tech roadmap to you know, systemize this and make
Integrate all that.
100%.
But where we're hiring a lot is on the tech side, the development side. As Rami mentioned, we've got very ambitious plans on the roadmap, the product roadmap. we're looking for a product manager actually, who can help us, actualize visions and put together the processes to, build out these things. So it's not enough to have, Ahmad's product hat always being worn with regards to so many different things at the same time. We need a dedicated product manager for that.
So if anyone's listening, please let us know.
And what do you guys offer besides just the incredible challenge? Are you guys
A mission.
setting up like an ESOP program? Is there like is there
course.
kind of like any stock incentives and stuff like that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we do have an ESOP pool that
Very cool.
early team members get part of.
Amazing. That's cool. That's really cool.
And then marketing, a guy under Chris to look after all our digital efforts, our media spend, our kind of social. A lady under Chris, hopefully, yeah, ideally. We need to start diversifying the team. We're too many guys.
Mana didn't catch what I said. But anyway. Okay, cool. Sorry, let's try to edit that piece out. Okay, cool. And question. A big part of what you guys are doing and the biggest challenge I think on the marketing side is going to be kind of the education. Mm-hmm. Right? So, okay, awareness, hey, here's a solution for everybody to access kind of or unlock kind of, that asset class, but educate people on what the expectation is, what the return is, why would you put money here, not anywhere else, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to do one of those pieces of content, by the way, another podcast in a couple of weeks with Sarwa is going to be here. I think Steve is going to defend Bitcoin and crypto like crazy. I'm going to be more on his side, by the way.
Really?
Just letting you know, because so far it's been really good.
Yeah.
but that education is going to be the biggest problem. And I wonder what recipe you guys are going to follow for that. Content is a volume and consistency game, right? It's and not because you're not aware, but it takes a lot of effort, right? It takes a ton of effort, a ton of resources, a ton of time to do that. Is that factored into kind of how you're going to grow this business?
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Becoming the ambassadors of the asset class is what you guys need to be, right? It's consistently have these conversations publicly, personally.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you
difficult
noticed, we got some good press coverage, PR coverage in the beginning. There's quite a lot of attention and excitement around what we're doing.
Absolutely.
We need to keep that up 100%, and it never stops, as you said. So this is one of the things that gets me excited as well, educating the investor or the retail community, the consumer market, and having them included. So financial inclusion is definitely one of the things that we have an impact on.
Yeah. And finally, we've been talking for about 40 minutes. You guys decided to take the leap and leave your kind of safety nets and start this business. Why would you do that? And what's the the recommendation to people who are thinking about things year in, year out and never taking the leap? What was it that helped you guys take that leap? Be as honest as you can.
Yeah, I mean, from a financial point of view, I think, if you have through our careers, we were able to save some money to put into this business, and I think once you have that comfort where you can actually go in a year or two trying to cut your cost expenses, and you have something that's keeping you up at night. I think for me is we took the leap because we actually believe that in the long term this is going to be something that's going to be very rewarding, both from a career point of view.
But what was the trigger? You know what I mean? Like I'm totally with you. I think in the Middle East, especially in Dubai, if you want to start a company, you have to have some capital, some money. Like you can't be a kid in your mom's garage. Like that whole story doesn't stand true here. So you have to have a bit of money. You have to have some success. You have to have some network, et cetera, et cetera. But what was the leap? Like knowing that it was going to work, I think you guys knew that the first time you came up with it, right? It's the market, the industry. But like, why did you actually decide to do it? What was that switch? What was that trigger? What was the trigger?
For me, it was coming into the office one day and realizing, this isn't what I want to do anymore. And that was it, and I think the whole COVID situation was going on.
Amplified it.
Yeah. And I just, said enough. I just couldn't bear doing what I was doing before.
And what was that? Was it like becoming a pressure cooker? It was like, more pressure on the industry.
And it was monotonous. And, I think, kind of doing the same things over again and expecting different results.
Insanity.
Exactly. I think, and I just felt, this, if I didn't do it at that point, I was never going to do it. And Manar and I, as you mentioned earlier, we've been talking about doing something together for a while now. So I think the trigger was just like, listen, I'm fed up of work. The world is unknown right now, and I think prices are dropping. This is a time where we need to do this business. So that was, the trigger for me.
Yeah, that was the time kind of thing. If we don't do it now,
when are we going to do it?
When are we going to do it? Like, this is as perfect a timing as it gets for this particular business model, and where we are in our lifetimes. For me, I don't have kids. I have, less commitments. So in terms of this eating up my life, in terms of the blizzard of time that it takes to work on it, I can afford it now, maybe not later. So I took the decision that, hey, I owe it to myself to find out if I have what it takes, because it's been on my mind for so long to, be my own boss and, have a real impact with what I'm doing, as opposed to just making the companies I work for or with, more profitable.
And I think, for me personally, as well, as my working hours were always long, and I'm sure it was the same. I used to work 6 days a week. So we used to, take one day off a week. Sales was very demanding, 12-hour days. And I was thinking to myself, I'm doing this. I'm not seeing my kids, I'm not seeing my wife. Why am I doing this for someone else?
It's just a question of redirecting the energy towards
100%.
something that's going to serve me, right?
100%.
So, it's...
And so to the guy or girl that's sitting at home, going into work every day, hating their life, what's the message?
For me, if it's something that's keeping you up at night and you believe that you can really do it, you have that confidence, I think, as you said, make sure that you can afford to take that gamble.
Yeah.
I'd say do it. And I think the world's changing. It's changing too fast.
Especially now.
A lot of things have changed permanently. I would say, if you have an idea and you can't stand your job, do it. Nothing, at the end of the day, nothing's going to stop you. And if you don't change, you're going to be left back. So that would be my
I don't remember who said this quote, but there's a quote that I really, really love that says, if you want to make the wrong decision, ask everybody.
100%.
And I think a lot of reasons why people don't start is they look for validation and approvals and opinions of like 100 people to make sure that what they're thinking and what they want to do is correct. And then they never get it. And then they always stay on standby.
Yeah.
And I believe that the reason people do startups is because they all of a sudden get that confidence that they don't need that approval anymore. And they just take that leap.
Makes sense.
I think about that every single day. Like, stop thinking, start doing. You know what I mean? And that's basically what the difference is between people who start businesses and don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you? Is that?
And the market rewards that, I think, generally speaking. You're going to make mistakes. What I would say to somebody start thinking about founding a company is, it's part of it's okay, and it's part of the process to be thrown in the deep end. Don't think you're gonna have all the solutions to every problem. Stay the course. Stick to your conviction, yes, for sure, and stay focused. But also, I think, have a healthy fear of being wrong. That I think is important in terms of having the flexibility and adaptability that you need as an entrepreneur. I think, yes, don't listen to too many opinions, but listen to the credible opinions, because
have an open ear.
there is some value to what they're saying, and so don't hold on to your preconceived notions too closely. Kind of be obsessed about finding out what's true as opposed to proving yourself right.
Super good way of putting it. I completely agree with it. I mean, I've been in startups my entire career. The one, and I wrote about this also, I think online a couple of weeks ago, and people really, really engaged with it to a level that I didn't think was true. But I said that there's one underlying truth that I've seen in super successful professionals, be it in startups or even in bigger corporations, is that normally there's an underlying true kind of motivation that has nothing to do with the business itself or with the personal challenge. There is kind of this seeking of approval.
I saw your post about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so many people engaged with it, both on the platforms, and personally, I got a lot of calls and WhatsApps about that. They're like, bro, this is so true. What the hell? I don't want to like it because then people will know, And I'm like, shit, okay. And what I wrote was, there are underlying motivations, and I can say it about me. I have no kind of insecurity about it. I've grown up to kind of understand that it's true. That most of the time, there's one of three things that are true. One, you're seeking approval of your parents. You want to, look, dad, look, mom, look what I can do. Right? I'm here. Look what I can do. Right? You want your parents to be proud. The second piece is you want to prove the naysayers. Right? You want to be like, see, told you so. I can do it. And the third one is a comeback story. Yeah. And in all of those, and all the guys that I know that are super, super successful, founders, CEOs, etc., if I know them well enough personally and I know anything about them, I end up finding out that one of those is true or all of them is true.
Yeah.
And so, last question. On that note, how much of this in your mind is personally motivated for you guys? It's not just making it.
For me, a lot of it, to be honest with you.
Like for me, I tick all three boxes. I want to prove it to my dad and my mom that I can do something. I want to prove the naysayers. I got tons of naysayers. And I have some comeback stories. I have some failures I want to come back from. Are any of those true?
For me, it ticks 3 boxes. Really. And mom, I'm telling you everything.
No, but it's true, right? I mean, that's the fire. That's the 100%. Fuel that you'll never talk about.
Yeah,
right?
100%. And no, you're very right about it.
Manar knows this. When we first started talking to people about raising some money, a couple of people turned around and said, no. And I remember Manar and I'm like, as soon as we get this up, I want to WhatsApp this guy.
Yeah,
like,
fuck
hey,
you.
He has this.
100%. And he knows that.
And that's one of the
Less.
best motivations, right?
Yeah.
I find that's one of the most true motivations in your heart, right?
I don't like that motivation. That's the thing. You can get that motivation from different places, your parents, your naysayers, and so on. But if you can have it also internally. That's like, I want to prove it to myself.
100%. That's the healthiest way to do it, by the way, because you control it. The way I live my life is the most unhealthy ways in the world. What we do is terrible for us, right? That's some psychological shit, right? Like we got to talk to our psyches and stuff. You know what I mean? But fundamentally, I realize that that's true in the majority of cases, right? Which is really unfortunate because we don't control that. Mm-hmm. We don't control whether or not people believe us in the end or approve of us or like what we do. Like our kind of satisfaction comes from external forces, which is terrible. Mm. And if we can do what you do and it's all internally driven, that's more controllable. That's within your hands, right? Like it's still a fucking mental battle within you. Yeah. But at least it's you and it's not the approval of X, Y, or Z externally, right. Which is completely fucked up.
I'm my worst boss, by the way. I'm my worst boss.
It's crazy though. That's what drives. I mean, he for him it's personal. I can tell it drives him daily. For me it's going back and saying, okay, who said no, and trying to prove that.
He's competitive in that way.
I'm super competitive. Yeah. And then I remember my old boss when I left the company, he said, what are you gonna go do on your own? I said, this was even before I started this. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna probably join another company, figure out. He's like, you're good because you're in this company, and I'm thinking to myself, anyways. So that's stuck to me.
But 100%, and like, I think those motivations for people, especially like what Rami described, and at least for me, is when you get to that 12-hour mark in your day and you're super, super tired, what gets you going even further that day is that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like I think about it, I'm like, oh shit, I don't have time, I'm exhausted. Yeah, but you know what? That motherfucker. Like I'm gonna prove it to him. I'm gonna show whether it's this guy or that guy or some parental shit. But it's there's always that extra step, that jump that you're gonna take. And if it could be driven internally, that's manpower to you, dude. Like, I can't wait to get to that stage where I don't have any more daddy issues.
I don't know which one's better, to be very honest. It's an eternal struggle. You're never satisfied.
I don't know, man. Anyways, guys, it's been a real pleasure having you on.
Same here.
Long time in the making. Super happy to see the success so far. Hopefully, we could participate in that too at some point, somehow, either as customers or as your partners. But thank you so much. Great having you on. Thanks. And look forward to hearing more about your success.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.